to put the first piece of aluminum on the roof for the roof rack. And we've been trying to figure out how to attach it, best attach it down to the roof. And on the Sprinter, there are some pre-drilled holes that have plastic caps on them. And so we've taken off the plastic caps, at least on the one side, and we're going to use this 80/20 piece. This is the cutoff of the one we're going to use. And it's going to sit with the smooth side to the outside. And what we've got is these 5/16, I think these are 5/16 carriage bolts. And they fit inside that 80/20 groove, and they kind of lock in place. And so we're trying to figure out how to waterproof that best. And I didn't want to just rely on caulking. I'm a little worried about the water getting as far as the bolt here and then running down the thread. So what we've come up with, that we're going to try, is these rubber washers that I'm cutting out of this rubber floor runner that I got at Home Depot. I've used this for all the electrical panels as well. We've laminated it to plywood. So I'm just using a hole saw. I'm cutting out these circles, and then I'm using a galvanized carriage bolt, a galvanized washer. I'm going to slide that on the 80/20. There's going to be eight of them holding each side of the rack down. So it's going to be like that. It's going to, of course, go down through the roof. And then on the other side, there's going to be another rubber washer, a regular washer, and then a nut, or lock nut. And I think that is going to hold it really well. I was a little worried that the square head on the carriage bolt kind of sticks out a little bit above the washer, but I think it'll kind of center itself. We tried a sample of just wedging it on here, and it did clamp against the 80/20. So I'm just about to try to make a few more of these rubber washers. I guess I need 16 for each side. It takes off a little bit every time it cuts one. So I'm trying to do it a little bit slower. Maybe I'll flip it over here. So that just puts a smaller hole in the center. We are going to put some caulking on it just before we drive it in place. But it leaves a smaller hole that stretches over top of the carriage bolt, and then a washer and a lock nut on the inside. Hopefully, with some glue on the top and some glue on the bottom, that'll give us a watertight clamp. So we're up on the roof. I've just got the roof rack kind of lying on its side preloaded with the bolts. I'm just cleaning up the track here because there's a bit of goo, and I want to be able to get a good seal around these holes. So this piece of 80/20 is the 1515 series, so it's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and it fits really nicely in with the bolts coming through, lining up in the hole, it just stays off that corner. When I put the one on either side and I run a piece of 80/20 over top of it, it just clears the roof by probably a half an inch. I'll show you that at some point. I'll show you how I pulled these caps off. What I did on the inside, I pre-cut them, used a chisel to take the bottom off, and then a little bit of heat, and they popped right off. So that was actually surprisingly easy to get all eight of those screws to line up, or bolts to line up at the same time. Of course, this is just sitting here at this point, and I'm not going to caulk it in place tonight. I want to do that in the daytime. So this is where those bolts come down through the roof. These are pre-drilled holes filled with those little plastic caps. There's 8 of them along the side of the van here. And so my plan is to put to caulk that, put another rubber washer, another steel washer. Oops, where am I? Another rubber washer, another steel washer, and then a nylock locking nut on there to hold it in place. I'll show you over on the other side how easy it was to remove those nibs. Here's one here, and I just took a half-inch chisel and just kind of pushed it. Now I'm going to be a little struggling because I'm using one hand, but as you push it through there, that piece will just nop off, and then when you heat it on the other side, it's just the disc that has to come off. So this piece is actually just a fairly brittle piece of plastic. So I started trying to put some caulking around each of the holes. I decided that wasn't a good idea. So now I've placed it on the bottom of each washer, rubber washer, and again, this will be repeated on the inside as well. So my piece of 80/20 is 121.5 inches long. This is a Sprinter 144. And I'm going to line it up with this joint, the seam in the 2 body panels, and then I can line it up with the other side just as easily. So version 1 of the plan, which also happens to include putting caulking all over my phone, has me putting a second bead of caulking on the inside. And then, of course, this will get covered with a rubber washer, the galvanized washer, and then the nut. So this is the first one. I've got plastic caps coming that will cover the end here, but you can see how well it fits in that recess all the way down. There's a bit of a gap, and from the side, I've got the finished side. So from down below, you're not going to see very much of it. The next layers up actually stick out a little bit to make room for the solar panels, but that'll be a different video. So about an hour and a half later, we got the van moved over so we can do the roof rack on this side. I'll show you some of the tools that were needed to get the van to move over. Yeah, the car jack and the whole set of ratchet set, and yeah, the pipe wrench and the torque wrench and the breaker bar. Somewhere in there is a breaker bar. Apparently when you have a van and you leave it sitting still for a number of months with the parking brake on, it seizes. So the rear wheel on this side, we jacked it up, it would spin. The one on the other side wouldn't spin, so we popped the wheel off and, I don't know, hit it with a hammer a few times. We eventually got the parking brake to let go, and we were able to move the van over. So now we can attack the roof rack on this side. So I'm just going to show how to remove one of these knobs. Inside I took my chisel and just put it up against the bottom of it and just hit it with the palm of my hand, and it just breaks right off. And these, with a little bit of heat from the heat gun, that easy. So then I just clean up the rest of the goo with a little bit of alcohol I've been using, and on to the next one. We worked on the drawers in the kitchen cabinet today as well. These are Blum drawer slides, and they came to us from Lee Valley as a kit, minus the floor and the back. So the slides, the sides, and the little clips. There's a clip that attaches the front panel, and so it's going to be pretty easy to finish these. And they're slow close, and the one at the bottom is a deeper one, so it's got two rods that'll attach from the front to the back to help hold some bigger stuff in. But they were quite a bit easier than building wooden boxes, and they were probably a few minutes a piece to put in place. So this cabinet is all built. I got the rough sizes that I wanted, and then I went to Home Depot's website, the Eurostyle website, which is their knockdown cabinet brand, and I got from the documentation the actual sizes of all the drawers, all the panels. So I've designed this cabinet around the standard size panels. So this is a 15 by 7, which is actually 15 by 7.5. So the opening is 15 and an eighth. So I'll have a 16th on each side, and there'll be a 16th between each drawer on the way down. And the end panel, it's a standard size, 30.25 by 15 as well. So all the cabinet doors, you'll see those probably next week, are just standard size door panels from Home Depot.